Welcome everyone to Doga Yoga. My name is Melody and today we're doing a beautiful and fun Vinyasa flow. So if you've never done Vinyasa before, Vinyasa is our faster, more masculine, energetic, get some heat and energy into the body type flows, and it consists predominantly of our Surya Namaskar A and B. So Surya Namaskar, don't worry, you don't need to know Sanskrit, is sun salutations. So we'll be practicing our sun salutations, so you guys are absolute pros. So we're going to start at the back of our mat instead of the start of the mat. So I'm going to come into the waves today, come into our mountain pose, plant our big toes, spread our little toes, have our palms wide facing in front. And then we're going to energize the whole body from the ground up. So the feet all the way to the crown of the head. So focus by pushing your big toes into the ground. Spread your little toes. Really kind of feel all four corners of the feet really connecting with the earth. And you'll feel your kneecaps actively kind of switch on as soon as you do that as well. So really activate the kneecaps, the thighs, tuck the tailbone under, and feel your whole upper carriage grow a little taller. Imagine there's a string pulling you taller from the top of your head. Let the torso grow, the space between our ribs and our hip bones grow. Our shoulders roll down the back, and let our hands kind of become really active. Spread the fingers wide, reach them. Imagine there's laser beams shooting towards the ground. Few breaths here. Inhale, big breath, find space and soften. Inhale and exhale. Two more, big breath. Just really arrive into this space energetically and soften. One more, inhale and release. We're going to take a big arm circle to warm us up. Start off the practice today. Up overhead, fingertips touch. Reach as high as you can. And then with control, nice straight spine, bring the hands back to heart center. Two more, inhale. Gaze can go up towards the fingertips if that feels good for your neck. And exhale back to heart center. One more, inhale. And exhale. I'm going to take a big arm circle up overhead, but just keep the fingers apart. Point them straight to the sky. Imagine we're reaching for the sun. And then take the palms, turn them outwards and send them down beside the body. Imagine we're pushing the air towards the earth. When the hands are beside the hips, just interlace the knuckles together and see how you go. This might be quite tough for you. You might have quite stiff shoulders. So just bend the elbows, kind of have the palms or the hands resting on the lower back. Or if you'd like to go on, start to squeeze the elbows in together, squeeze the shoulder blades in together, open up the chest and send the gaze towards the sky. So knuckles are down, gaze is up. Imagine you're activating those kneecaps, really grounding down into the earth a little more, and that'll help you gain a little bit more length. If you want a little bit, I suppose, more chilly, more spicy, if you can get the palms to touch. Just breathe here, opening up our heart space. And release. One more big arm circle, up overhead, fingertips touch. Feel the heat in our shoulders. And exhale, we're going to swan dive. So send our palms wide, hinge at the hips, knees as bent as you need. And then circle the hands down to touch the ground, the shins or the knees. Support yourself as much as you need here to gently just let the head, neck and shoulders release. So you can shake the head a yes or no. You might wrap the arms around the elbows and sway side to side. Just allow yourself to let go of some of the tension that we're holding on to kind of get into our Vinyasa practice today. When we're ready, we're going to place our hands on our shins and slide them up to the tops of our knees, pushing away, coming up into halfway lift. So hold here, really roll the shoulder blades down the back. Imagine there's a laser beam shooting out the front of our head towards the wall. Inhale, gain a little bit more length, kind of get parallel to the earth and soften. Length and fold. Great work, guys. You are doing amazing. Bend your knees as much as you can here. And we're going to walk forward. So we're going to walk forward into plank. So take one hand and then the other out. And you can come into half plank for the first one or all of them. This is your practice. And breathe here. We're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then we're going to lower down with control. It's harder the slower you go. So we're going to bend the elbows, keep them into the side body, and get the chest down towards the ground first, and the hips still stay in the air. So it feels a little strange to start with. When you're ready, send the hips down, untuck the toes, press into the hands, and come up into baby cobra. 2 breaths here, just find length and soften. Find length and soften. When we're ready, we're all going to come down to the ground, tap the forehead towards the earth, press into the hands and the hips towards the heels, and rest into child's pose for a breath. Fill up the body with beautiful energy. Vinyasa brings new energy, oxygen, space into the body. And exhale, let go of all the stuff that doesn't serve us today. When we're ready, rise up into our tabletop position, tuck our toes under and come up into our downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Really try and lengthen the spine, kind of reach that tailbone to the sky. Imagine there's a string kind of pulling you up and back. And then soften the chest towards the knees. So crown of the head is trying to point towards the ground, tailbone's trying to point towards the sky. When we're ready, we're going to send our gaze forward towards our hands and really generously bend our knees here. We're going to make our way back into standing. So walk the hands back. Get here however you can. It's all a compromise into a forward fold. Release, let the weight of the world melt off your shoulders here. Then come on up, halfway lift, hands to the tops of the knees, push away. Shoulders roll down the back, crown of the head points towards the front of the room. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and lower down, my friends. Bend the knees super generously. Really focus on still planting those feet down into the ground. And then roll on up, vertebra by vertebra. Oh, it feels so nice. Take a super big arm circle up overhead. Fingertips touch. Back to heart center. 2 breaths here. Grow tall. Imagine that string pulling you taller. Ground down through the feet. Activate the kneecaps. And soften. Grow tall. Find your mountain. Root down and rise up. And soften. Now we're going to go once more. A little bit faster this time. Inhale, big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch. Exhale, we're going to swan dive, hinge at the hips, hand wide, forward fold. Inhale, come on up, halfway lift, hands to the tops of the knees, push away. And fold forward. Shoot yourself forward into a full plank or half plank. Come here however you can and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down slowly, chest first, then the hips, untuck the toes. Press into the hands, come into baby or full cobra. And lower down, tap the forehead towards the earth. Now you can make your way into your child's pose and up into your downward facing dog. Or you can tuck your toes under, really activate the kneecaps, push into the hands and push yourself up into a push-up. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and send the hips up and away, tailbone towards the sky, downward facing dog. Lengthen, soften. Lengthen, soften. Walk the dog here if you like, and if you don't know what that means, it means just drop your right heel and bend your left knee. Nice stretch in the right side body, and then switch. Switch. And switch. We're gently massaging out the backs of the legs, while the neck is long and soft. The heart is still, or the chest is still opening towards the thighs. When we're ready, we're going to come back to stillness. Bend the knees, look towards the hands, really pull back, and walk the hands back towards the feet. Forward fold. Nice work. Inhale, come on up, halfway lift, and fold. Bend the knees, roll on up. A little faster this time. Big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch, and back to heart center. All right, we're going to go straight away. Big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Really push away and fold. Bend the knees, shoot yourself out or walk yourself out into plank. 5, 4, smile, 3, 2, 1. Lower the chest down and then the hips, untuck the toes. Press into the hands, toes and hips come up into your cobra. Elbows are bent, gaze is up. And sink on down. Tuck the toes. You can come into your child's pose and downward facing dog, or push yourself up into a push-up. Hold. 3, 2, 1, and then send the hips back and away. Really, really good work. You can feel the heat and energy building in the body here. Grow the tailbone a little higher. And see if we can sink the heels down, straighten the legs. Squeeze those kneecaps as we did in our mountain pose. You'll find that kind of helps sink the heels down a little bit more. When we're ready, we're going to bend our knees, look towards our hands, walk them back. And fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And fold. Rise on up. Beautiful big arm circle. Up, overhead, fingertips touch. Back to heart center. 2 breaths here, length. And soften. Length. And soften. Going to go straight away again. It's called a moving meditation. We do these movements and fold, and it just happens. Our body knows the way, and we just become one. Fold with the body and breath. Make your way out into plank in your own time. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the chest down, then the hips, untuck the toes. Come up into cobra. Lower down. Tuck the toes, press into the hands. Now you can come up into plank or half plank, your variation. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you want to add a little bit of spice, really press weight into the left hand, come onto the outside edge of the left foot, outside edge of the right foot, and come up into half plank or side plank. Breathe here, smiling, shoulder blades are down the back, send the hips up. Really good work. If you're shaking and fall out, that's fine. And send the right hand down. We're going to switch, so swivel on the feet, come on to the outside edges of the right foot, and reach the left hand high. Hold for 5, 4, 3. Send the hips a little higher. Push into all 4 corners of that right hand. And then send the left hand down. Send the hips up and away into your downward facing dog, or come into your child's pose and breathe. Now you can be in tabletop or stay in downward facing dog here. Wherever we are, we're going to kick our left foot either back or up, so reach it towards the back of the room or to the top of the room. Then we're going to bend this knee and get this right foot in between our hands. So you might have to pick it up, wriggle it, get it here however you can. It's okay, it's all a compromise. So we want our ankle and knee to be aligned and lower down this back foot. Place our hands on this right knee, rise on up into low lunge. So just take your time here, really feel the stretch on this left hip flexor. This might be enough for you here. And if you'd like to go on, send the hands forward and up. Open up the chest and sink the hips a little deeper. So flow here with your breath, length and sink. Length and sink. Lengthen once more, send the left hand forward, the right hand back, open up. Breathe here, hold, smile. If you fall out, that's okay. When you're ready, come on back. Reach high, edit. Reach high, and then send the hands wide. Frame the front foot, and we're going to go through our flow or just come straight back to downward facing dog. So lift this back knee up, plant the hands, come into plank, and go straight through your flow. Lower the chest down, untuck the toes. Press into the toes, hips, hands, come up into cobra. Lower. Hips towards heels, forehead towards the earth into child's pose, and then send the hips up and away. 2 breaths, length and soften. Length and soften. Press into the right foot, lift the left heel high to the sky or to the back of the room if you're in tabletop position, and then step it forward. Get in between our hands however we can. Sink that back knee down and rise on up. Either hands to the knees or hands go straight up into our lunge. Length, rise a little higher and then sink the hips down. Rise and sink. Rise and sink. Rise, and then right hand forward, left hand back, hold here, open up. Send your gaze towards the side of the room or towards those back fingers, revolving a little more. And come on up. Hands wide, frame the front foot. And we're all going to meet in child's pose. So lift this back knee, pop it back, pop the knees down, and then fold on down. So nice. Forehead comes to the earth. Hips really melt into the heels. And just connect with that breath. Notice the bit of heat and energy you've developed in the body today. Notice the differences side to side. Notice how you're feeling physically, mentally. I'm just going to take 5 more deep, beautiful breaths just in this posture to calm and settle. Let all of that good energy sink in to prepare you for the rest of your day, to prepare you for tomorrow. And already we're just going to peel ourselves up off the mat into tabletop. Cross our ankles and make our way back into seated. Our hands on our knees, shoulder blades down the back. And just breathe. Notice the spine growing a little taller with each breath. And when ready, we're going to take one big arm circle all together, up, overhead, fingertips touch to finish today's practice. And bring our hands back to heart center. Say thanks for stepping on your mat. Thank you for supporting us, supporting rescue dogs in need every time you meet us here. We can't wait to see you back on the mat soon. Namaste.